Okay, let's set a scene. Think about that buzz you get at a cricket match,
Yeah.
right? It's electric, the crowd's going wild, players are just giving it their all.
Absolutely. You can almost feel it.
But then, hang on, you look a bit closer, maybe on the jersey or the boundary rope, and there's this logo, and it just feels a little off.
Yeah, like it doesn't quite belong there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just sort of whispering about something completely different. And you suddenly realize, wow, this isn't just about cricket anymore. There's another game playing out.
A whole different kind of battle.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are really pulling back the curtain on something happening, like, right now. It's all tangled up with cricket, which so many people love, but also some pretty shady advertising and a state authority basically saying, nope, not on our watch.
That's it exactly. We've been, digging into all the reporting around the Tamil Nadu Premier League, the TNPL, and this whole situation with online betting platforms. It's intriguing, but honestly a bit concerning too.
Yeah, concerning is a good word. So our mission today is to try and unpack this. We want to figure out what those logos actually mean, why this state watchdog is stepping in so forcefully now, and I guess what the bigger picture is here. What does this tell us about online gaming laws in India? It's kind of a mess, right?
It really is a local issue with potentially huge national implications. Let's get straight into it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's paint that picture. If you're in Tamil Nadu right now, maybe down in Coimbatore, this is June 14, 2025. By the way, you're probably feeling that summer cricket energy. The TNPL tournament is really hitting its stride.
Oh, yeah. The TNPL is massive down there. It's run by the Tamil Nadu Cricket Association, the TNCA. 8 teams.
Right.
And you see some big local names, guys who've played nationally too. R. Ashwin, Sai Kishore, Shahrukh Khan, T. Natarajan.
Household names in the state for sure.
Absolutely. And people follow it intensely on TV, streaming apps, you name it. It's like Tamil Nadu's very own IPL,
Yeah.
High stakes, local talent, fierce rivalries.
And it's right in the middle of all that passion, all that genuine sporting excitement,
Yeah.
that this other thing starts popping up. These logos.
Yeah, not just subtly either. On the players' jerseys, plastered on stadium banners, pretty visible.
And these weren't like logos for your local chai shop, were they?
No. They were linked, sometimes very thinly veiled, to offshore betting apps. And that's where the alarm bells started ringing.
Because this isn't just regular advertising. We're talking about surrogate advertising.
Exactly. Surrogate advertising. It's basically a trick, a way to promote something banned like online betting in Tamil Nadu by pretending you're advertising something totally different, something legal.
Okay, break that down, like the old tobacco brand selling mineral water.
Precisely. Or, think about trying to sneak your favorite snack, maybe a samosa, into a cinema that says no outside food. You don't wave the samosa around.
Right, you'd hide it.
You wrap it up, maybe put it in a box that says gourmet potato pastry or something. Or you launch Samosa News Network that just happens to have the same colors and font. It's the same product underneath, just dressed up differently to get past the rule.
The gourmet potato pastry defense. Love it. So how gourmet are these betting apps getting in the TNPL?
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes not very gourmet at all, which kind of makes it more blatant, doesn't it?
How so?
They're using names that are often just like one letter different, or they just add a generic word like news or bet. So you see Dafabet showing up as Dafanews.
Dafanews.
1xBet becomes 1xBet. MELBET turns into MELBET. Plus others like Cricketa, Pinup Cricket, JSK1, often with news or sports tacked on.
Wait, 1xBet? That's barely even trying. It's almost like they're winking at you.
It feels that way, doesn't it? The visual resemblance, the name being so close, it makes the link pretty obvious if you know the original betting brands.
Wow.
And crucially, like you mentioned, these are almost all offshore apps.
Right, operating out of places like Malta or Curacao, not India.
Exactly. And that international element just adds layers of difficulty when it comes to regulation and enforcement.
Because Tamil Nadu can't just march into Curacao and shut them down.
Yeah.
But they can act within their own borders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened next, right? Enter the state authority, TNOGA.
Yep. The Tamil Nadu Online Gaming Authority. They're the body set up specifically to oversee this stuff, to enforce the state's own laws against online gambling.
And they didn't just wake up one morning and decide to poke the TNPL. This was driven by public reaction.
Seems so. Reports suggest TNOGA got flooded with complaints. People in Tamil Nadu were seeing these logos everywhere, players, stadiums, broadcast, and they knew exactly what Dafanews or 1xBet really stood for. They saw it as promoting betting, plain and simple, and they complained.
So the public flagged it, and TNOGO acted. What did they do?
They moved fast, and quite directly. On June 11th, just a few days ago, they actually summoned the TNPL's chief executive officer, Prasanna Shankar, called him right into their Chennai office for a meeting about these specific ads.
Wow, a summons. Not just a polite letter, then.
No, definitely more serious than that. Face-to-face, demanding answers.
And they had the legal teeth to do this. They weren't just, like, expressing concern.
Oh, they were citing the law. TNOGA officially declared these surrogate ads prima facie objectionable.
Prima facie. Okay, what's that mean in plain English?
Basically, on first look, or on the face of it, they're saying, just looking at these ads, they appear to be breaking the law. And the specific law is Section 8 of the Tamil Nadu Prohibition of Online Gambling and Regulation of Online Games Act. That's the 2022 Act.
Right, the state's own anti-online gambling law. What does Section 8 actually say?
It's pretty clear. It bans any promotion of online gambling or online betting games, and crucially, it covers both direct and indirect promotion.
Ah, the indirect part. That's key for surrogate ads.
Absolutely. And the penalties aren't trivial either. We're talking up to a year in jail or a fine of euro lakh or potentially both. So TNOGA is looking at one expat and saying, that looks a whole lot like indirect promotion. Our law forbids that, and here are the potential consequences.
Okay, so this is serious business. They're bringing out the heavy artillery right away. But this TNPL incident, while it's getting headlines now, it's not TNOGA's only move in this area, is it? It sounds like part of a bigger strategy.
That's what's really interesting. When you look at everything else TNOGA has been doing, you see this isn't just a one-off reaction. It's part of a much broader, ongoing campaign against online gambling and its promotion in the state.
Okay, tell us more. What other fronts are they fighting on?
Well, first, they have the power to escalate things nationally. They can go to MELBET, the Union Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, using Section 69A of the main IT Act.
Section 69A, that's the one for blocking websites and apps, right?
Exactly. They can ask MELBET to block these specific betting apps right across the state, basically cut off access for users within Tamil Nadu.
That's a powerful tool. Has they been using it?
It seems like they're trying. Reports mention they've sent a huge number of proposals, 62, to the Tamil Nadu Home Department, asking for various gambling sites and apps to be blocked or shut down.
62, that's a lot. It really shows the scale of what they perceive the problem to be.
It really does. It points to a sustained effort, not just reacting to the latest thing.
And are they just going after the tech, the platforms?
Yeah.
Or the marketing, too?
They're hitting the marketing as well. They've recently gone after social media influencers, sent notices to 5 individuals, 2 big names on Instagram, 3 on YouTube who were promoting betting apps.
Ooh, influencers getting official notices. How did that go down?
Apparently, the impact was pretty immediate. The report suggests they pulled the ads almost instantly after getting the notices. Some even put out public apologies.
Wow, so that tells you TNOGA's notices carry some real weight, at least in that sphere.
It certainly seems to have gotten their attention very quickly.
So they're tackling blocking, tackling promotion. What else? Are they looking at those apps that are maybe in a gray area?
Yes, definitely. Things sometimes marketed as opinion trading or fantasy sports, but which might, stray into betting territory. They sent notices to 15 apps, like that names you might recognize, like Probo, MPL, Sportsbazi.
And what happened there?
Well, as a direct result of that regulatory pressure, some of those platforms have actually pulled out of Tamil Nadu altogether, just exited the state market.
So direct pressure leading to market exits, that's significant. Are they doing anything on the user protection side for people actually playing?
They are. They've brought in some specific rules for real money gaming platforms operating legally in the state. For instance, they've mandated a sort of curfew banning logins between midnight and 5 a.m.
A forced break, essentially.
Exactly. A cooling off period during those late night, early morning hours. And they also require mandatory pop-up warnings about addiction risks that have to appear during gameplay.
Like a little nudge saying, hey, be careful.
Pretty much. And looking forward, a big project they're working on is this whitelist. The idea is to create an official list of online games and apps that comply with Tamil Nadu's rules and are approved for operation.
A list of the good guys, so to speak.
If they pull it off, yeah. It could make Tamil Nadu one of the first states in India to have that kind of clear public list. It would provide clarity for both users and the platforms themselves.
Blocking, disrupting promotion, pressure on gray areas, user protection, a whitelist. That sounds incredibly thorough.
It really shows they're trying to tackle this from multiple angles. The TNOGA chairperson, MD Nasimuddin, has basically said the goal is clear. Regulate online gaming effectively and protect people from the harm it can cause. Even the state's chief secretary, N. Muruganandam, is involved, calling on parents and teachers to help raise awareness.
Okay, so TNOGA comes in strong, citing the law, backed by these public complaints. How did the TNPL react when they were actually summoned and confronted about these logos?
While the initial reports suggest the reaction from a TNPL official was something along the lines of, "We didn't know it was a problem."
Seriously, with 1xBet on the jersey, they didn't know it might be an issue. That sounds a bit hard to believe.
It does stretch credibility a bit, yeah. They've apparently asked TNOGA for time to talk to their lawyers and figure out their official response.
Okay, so they're lawyering up. And what happened when people tried to get more details from TNPL after that meeting?
Reports say when media tried to follow up on June 13th, the day after the meeting, they were met with radio silence. Just nothing.
Silence can speak volumes sometimes, can it?
It can, and there's some history here too. Apparently, TNPL and the TNCA had previously denied rumors about any sponsorship deals with 1xBet. They specifically said no direct or indirect ties.
Wait, so they denied links to 1xBet before, but now logos looking suspiciously like 1xBet are appearing in their tournament.
That seems to be the contradiction at the heart of it. They denied ties, yet these very similar logos are now visible. That's likely a major point TNOGA is pushing them on.
That seems like a pretty big inconsistency to explain away. Did the TNPL offer any other justification, maybe?
Well, one official reportedly mentioned that ASII, the Advertising Standards Council of India, which is like the industry's self-regulatory body, hasn't specifically banned surrogate ads for betting apps.
Okay, so the argument is, well, the National Ad Watchdog hasn't made a specific rule against this exact kind of ad, so maybe it's okay. That feels like looking for a loophole.
It could be interpreted that way, or just highlighting what they see as ambiguity. And to be fair, it's true that other sports leagues in India have faced similar issues with these kinds of ads. It's not just a TNPL problem.
Right, which suggests maybe there is a gap, or at least confusion, in the overall regulations that these companies are exploiting.
Exactly. It points to a potentially wider issue across Indian sports and advertising regulation.
So, zooming out again, this whole thing, the cricket, the ads, TNOGA's reaction, it's really tapping into much bigger anxieties and problems, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The reason Tamil Nadu is being so strict here isn't just about, whether an ad is technically legal or not. It goes much deeper.
What are those deeper concerns?
It's the human cost. State officials and reports keep coming back to the severe risks associated with online gambling addiction. We're talking about people losing everything, families being torn apart, and really tragically, suicides linked directly to deaths and despair caused by these platforms.
That's devastating. So there's a sense of real urgency to protect people.
Definitely. You get the feeling they see it as a genuine public health crisis, a surge in addiction that they absolutely have to fight back against.
And that fight is made so much harder by the way laws work or don't work across India, right?
Precisely. This is where the local story smashes into the national challenge. There's just no single, unified central law for online gaming and betting that applies everywhere in India.
So every state is kind of making its own rules.
Pretty much. It's a complete patchwork. Some states ban certain games, others try to regulate them, some haven't done much at all. One expert described it perfectly, like trying to herd cats with a broom made of noodles. It just doesn't work effectively.
Herding cats with a noodle broom. I like that. And the offshore companies just love this confusion.
They thrive on it. They do what's called forum shopping. Set up shop in places like Malta or Curacao with friendly rules, get a license there, and then target users back in India, knowing the laws are inconsistent.
And they use tactics like these surrogate ads to get noticed, even in states where betting is banned.
Exactly. They push ads, make their apps easy to download, and even if a state like Tamil Nadu tries to block their website,
people find ways around it, VPNs and things.
Yeah, users can often use VPNs, virtual private networks, to hide where they are and access the sites anyway. It makes blocking much less effective. It becomes this constant game of whack-a-mole for the authorities.
It really highlights how hard it is to regulate something online that just doesn't care about state borders.
It is. Legal experts like Gauri Gokal have pointed this out. This fragmented approach in India creates gray areas that these offshore companies are perfectly positioned to exploit, reaching users everywhere regardless of local state laws.
Okay, so back to the immediate situation with TNPL. What's the very next step we should be watching for?
Well, as of today, June 14th, TNPL has been summoned, told the ads look objectionable, and now they need to respond. They're talking to their lawyers, so we're waiting for that official response from the league.
And if TNGA doesn't like their response, if TNPL doesn't remove the ads or gives an explanation, TNGA finds weak.
Then, based on TNOGA's track record, the next logical step would be escalation. They'd likely formally ask MELBET, the central government ministry, to issue orders to block the specific betting apps whose surrogate logos were displayed.
Go for the national block.
Exactly. But again, even that's not a silver bullet because of the challenges we talked about: offshore servers, VPNs. It's hard to guarantee a complete block.
So really, this whole TNPL saga, while focused on cricket right now, is like a snapshot. A really clear example of this much bigger fight happening across India over online betting, advertising, and regulation.
Absolutely. It perfectly illustrates the clash between a popular local sport, global offshore betting interests using tricky advertising, and a state authority trying to enforce its own laws in a borderless digital world. It highlights just how badly a clear, unified national approach is needed.
So wrapping this up, what's the main thing we should take away from this deep dive?
I think it's seeing how something familiar, like cricket, can suddenly become the stage for these really complex global issues, offshore betting, surrogate ads, and how it forces local authorities like TNOGA here to react strongly using the laws they have.
And for you listening, why track this story? Why does a logo on a jersey in Coimbatore matter?
Because it's a live example of how things work and don't work right now. You see the tactics companies use to get around rules. You see the legal tools authorities try to use to protect people. And you see the huge challenges they face, especially with online stuff that crosses borders so easily.
It really underscores that constant push and pull between technology, business, rules, and keeping people safe online. Maybe the thought to leave you with is this. Next time you're watching sports or even just browsing online, look out for those slightly off-brand names. Think about what might be behind them and consider the massive, ongoing effort and the difficulty involved in trying to regulate this space effectively, especially when state laws meet a global internet. It's definitely not over yet.